Self-belief often sits behind and guides our actions, from choosing whether to apply to that job to considering different career options, because doing so necessarily means imagining successful versions of yourself in different sectors. So how can this most fundamental of things be nurtured to help us get to places that might fit us best? Well, in this video, I'm going to share 3 research-backed approaches that I've personally seen work time and time again with students and clients I've worked with over the years. So if you've ever found yourself struggling to see how you might benefit an organisation, or struggling to put pen to paper for a cover letter because you're struggling to see the skills that you have, then this episode is for you. Professor Robert Frank of Cornell University describes positional goods as giving information about how we rank socially. Since we as humans evolved a positional social psychology, and in fact research shows around 10% of our thoughts are about comparing ourselves, this can, for example, result in feeling threatened if we feel our value is low within a community or an environment. This has implications on career thinking too, right? I can remember when I was at university stopping my internship applications when I learned that a fellow classmate who was super academically high achieving was also applying to the same internships, and I suddenly felt, well, why would they want me? And this brings to mind a quote by Teddy Roosevelt: "Comparison is the thief of joy." Not only do I agree, but taken further, comparison can also be a thief of the ability to see yourself in different sectors, and also to interact and partake in anything that might help you make career thinking progress. So what does research say might be useful? Well, see if you can catch yourself in the process of comparing yourself next time and ask yourself if that's helpful or not. Do this a few times in a row and you'll soon get in the habit of guiding yourself away from unhelpfully comparing yourself. Often we don't fully value ourselves because we think there's something different or maybe even peculiar about us that makes us undeserving of certain career outcomes. But the more you talk to people, the more you realise this is an incredibly common feeling. That research suggests we're exposed to over 5,000 adverts a day probably doesn't help either, often prompting us to buy things in order to achieve a certain feeling, suggesting maybe that we're not okay as we are. But what if accepting yourself as you are feels too much like standing still and not striving and looking to grow and improve? Well, then ask yourself this: what might your future look like if you fully believed in yourself? Not in an arrogant way, but in a way that simply acknowledges what you're actually good at. So what one action might help you better accept yourself as you are? Talk to people, especially UCL graduates, maybe doing the kind of work you're really excited by but can't picture yourself actually doing. The UCL alumni community database shows you who's happy to talk, and you'll soon find that those who have achieved their career goals look and sound very much like you. In a world that often encourages us to think big and to aim bigger, sometimes going small is the answer, especially if it helps you slowly and reliably ratchet your way to stronger self-belief via many little actions. Say if you're struggling to imagine how you might be useful to a particular organisation, pursue a small voluntary role that has some elements in common, and then, after a while, ask for feedback about how you're doing in that environment. I suspect that very quickly you will see how you can deliver value. Like noticing when you were comparing yourself unhelpfully, noticing thoughts and feelings that might hold you back and gently challenging them in ways that can slowly build momentum and confidence can be incredibly uplifting and empowering. And I reckon you can think of a time that you probably did this anyway. So much about building better self-belief is about being a good friend to yourself and remembering that strategies that got you here may not always be the best strategies to lead you forward. Booster rockets, for example, are useful to get out of the Earth's atmosphere, but then there's stage 2 booster rockets, and finally thrusters to get you to the moon. I think I need more space analogies in these videos. So that's it from me for this week. I really hope you found this useful. And please know that UCL Careers is a team of 60 who believe in you. That's it from me for this week. I'll see you next time.